I'm Dr. Dawn Harper and I'm delighted to be back with Stay Sure Wellbeing to answer some of your questions on coronavirus. So the rules have changed in England. The message in Northern Ireland, Scotland and Wales is still very much stay at home. But in England we have been given a little bit of easing of the lockdown, and so I thought I'd go through some of the questions that some of you have posed to me. The first is, can I go and see my grandchild now? And I'm sure this will be a very common theme. A lot of babies being born during lockdown and haven't yet been able to be introduced in person to their grandparents. So if you live in England, you are allowed to go and meet somebody else from another family outside in a public place. So you can't go, I'm afraid, yet to your son or daughter's house and meet your grandchild in their house or even in their garden. But you could go on your own to meet them at a public place, say for example a park, as long as you maintain the social distancing, stay 2 meters apart. So I'm afraid you can't have that cuddle just yet, but it will come. And if you have a partner who would also want to meet that grandchild, I'm afraid they would have to meet that child separately, because you can only meet one other person in a public place for a different household. So the next question, can I offer to childmind so that my daughter can go back to work? And that would seem a very logical thing to do, wouldn't it? We are being encouraged to get back to work, but I'm afraid we are not, they're not allowing grandparents to look after their grandchildren. The thinking behind this is that grandparents are often in a slightly older group, so would therefore be classed as one of the more vulnerable people, and so we don't want grandparents being looking after their grandchildren. And also, you know, a grandparent-grandchild relationship is a kind of touchy-feely, cosy one, and so it should be, and of course that's not to be encouraged. So I'm afraid you can't yet be your grandchild's childminder. And on to the next question. We have a big garden. Can we invite our children over for a barbecue as long as we socially distance? And I'm afraid the answer to that in England is still no. The thinking is that the government don't want us meeting in private places. I guess you're going to be with, by definition in that kind of a scenario, with family. Maybe you're very familiar with the house. You might be tempted just to pop in and use the loo. And so we really are, that the rules are quite strict, that you can meet one other person from another household out in a public place. So your household could go and meet one member of your family from another household out in a park, or somewhere public, but I'm afraid not in our back gardens just yet. We have a holiday home. It's about a 300-mile round trip. It hasn't been seen for 3 months, and could we go down now and just do a little bit of do-it-yourself and take care of the garden? And I'm afraid that is still a no. So you can go on day trips in England for as long as you want, but you can't go to second properties yet. I think that will come, but you certainly can't go yet. And if your second home is in Scotland or Wales, you absolutely can't cross the border. They're not encouraging travel in those countries. And my daughter and grandchild live 200 miles away, which is too far for me to go there and back in one day. Could I borrow a friend's motorhome and go to visit my daughter, but stay in that motorhome parked on the driveway and not go into the house? Would that be allowed? And I'm afraid that seems like it would seem a reasonable thing to do, doesn't it? That you wouldn't be going into the house, that you would only be meeting them outside. But the rules at the moment are that you are not allowed to stay away. So you can go for a day trip, and you can go for a long distance to that day trip if it's within England, but I'm afraid you can't stay overnight. So that will have to wait a little bit longer. So what happens if my family are out for a walk and we come across another family who we know well? So there are 2 groups of more than one person. Are we supposed to just ignore those people and not even say hello? It's counterintuitive, isn't it? But you are not allowed to linger and talk to them. So, I mean, of course, I think you wave and say hello as you go past, but everybody knows what those rules are. It may feel a bit rude, but it's actually just being safe. So the thing to do is to acknowledge those people, but don't stop and talk, and stay within your own household group. So that's it for this week. Those are the questions so far, but of course you may well have some more. Please do post them or ask me anything else that you'd like me to talk about. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel, and I shall look forward to seeing a lot more of you. Until then, stay safe and stay well.